This example is to show how we can move from a relatively calm but haunting atmosphere and mood to an almost violent one within a relatively small space of time. So obviously, in order to achieve this, we do not simply rely on a classical orchestra. We use a wider variety of sounds. To start with, we had a fairly simple melody played on the piano, and this melody remains identical throughout the piece of music. All we do is enhance it by bringing in the other instruments. The first additional instrument that we bring in is the cello here. I played it on a multi-instrument, but it could just as well have been a solo cello. It is playing in counterpoint to the piano. Then we bring in a preset from the Albion 1 Loops library. By using the modulation wheel, this patch has a lot of variety. The effects and filtering take what is actually a straightforward orchestral type sound and create something very organic yet powerful, and even though it is not loud, it certainly creates an atmosphere. Then we add depth to the piece by using the Orchestra Suspense patch. And halfway through that section, we bring in a clarinet. At this point, we bring some powerful elements in, such as the Steinberg Dark Planet library. This is an excellent library for the hybrid orchestra. This patch has a lot of movement, and the filtering is giving it a lot of character. You can also modify this kind of sound using the parameters available on the screen. And this works much like a synthesizer. It's certainly a good technique if you want to modernize your arrangements somewhat. Simply bringing in a synthesizer or modified type of sound transforms your arrangement from a typical classical piece to something much more modern, and is something that is used more and more these days. At the same time, we also bring in this loop. By filtering it, we create a darker mood. So as you can see, we are using mainly multi-instruments, but still, just with a few multi-instruments and the affected loops and synthesizer type patches, we can create a very powerful arrangement. And even if the arrangement is already very powerful, we can add brass towards the end, as they will cut through what we already have and add even more power. And finally, we can do something that is commonplace, and that is to drop the arrangement down to nothing from the fortissimo section, and then bring the original opening section back in, which in our case is the piano. One important thing to note here is that the melody does not evolve. It always stays the same. So the dynamics in our piece come from the addition of new instruments over time.